Hey guys, it's my favorite holiday of my favorite month, so it's time for my favorite video series. That's right, another volume of 6 horror films that are actually scary. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll have something truly spooky to check out. First, here's some brief honorable mentions, the movies that didn't scare me, but are worth watching nonetheless. 28 Weeks Later features one of the most intense horror openings ever, Nightmare on Elm Street is a creative classic, the crime thriller Copycat offers 2 superb leads, As Above, As Below is The Blair Witch meets Indiana Jones, Event Horizon is gory space madness, Suspiria 2018 has a dance sequence that practically made me curl into a ball, and Coming Soon is the closest to a standard horror movie I've found in a while, and I mean that in a good way. With that said, here are the big 6. And don't forget to check out my previous videos in this series and comment with your own recommendations. Let's dive in. Number 6 is one that quite a few of you have recommended, and that's Kill List. Unlike other channels I could mention, I spend a lot of time coming up with my various lists and agonize over whether to include this movie, because Kill List is really 3 movies in one. The first 25 minutes is a marriage drama. It's well acted, but even on a second watch, I think it could have been trimmed down. However, don't let that beat you. The middle of the film is a crime thriller, following 2 hitmen switching between pleasant camaraderie and obscene violence. Every punch, stab, and bludgeon in this movie made me wince. And since the 2 guys' chemistry is so good, their casual conversations between the brutality is kind of rattling. The mood darkens, the plot gets more vague, the action intensifies, and then we get to what clinched its spot on the list. The last third is so scary. Since the acting is so natural and the story shifts its genres, I never knew where the film was taking me. That's the genius of Kill List. I was being lulled, tenderized, and then thrown to the slaughter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next is Gonjiam Haunted Asylum, a pseudo-documentary from Japan. This was recommended to me by Twitch user Siratsky, so yeah buddy, thanks for scaring the hell out of me, dickhead. What surprised me about the movie is how much it focuses on documentary procedures. We watch them set up shots and cue character lines, and since it's more of a professional endeavor, being broadcasted live, there's a real incentive to keep filming. I kept expecting jump scares and not getting them, like I was being teased, until the film threw its cards down and went, "Oh yeah? You want scary? Well, here you go, bitch," and it genuinely frightened me without pause for the rest of the movie. The labyrinthine hallways and tight camera angles renders the characters, and us, helpless. Some images, like the black-eyed girl, which I won't dare show, are downright horrifying. I wanted to turn it off, honestly, but I couldn't. I was locked in. And as a horror buff who isn't easily scared, I still get a kick out of a movie that can trap me. Check it out.
고프로는 2사람당 한 대씩 찍을 거예요.
여기가 2층으로 들어가는 곤지암 정문이야.
들어가면
죽는다.
Next up is The Descent. This film boasts good acting and justified jump scares, but its biggest draw is the environment. You would never tell by watching, but this cave the climbers have to escape from is artificial, created specifically for the film, and it looks amazing. Having been caving myself, I can't think of a more claustrophobic location outside of an MRI machine, and the sound design and selective lighting really help immerse you in the character's peril. Many of the best horror movies have centered on women in some way, and did so without using the concept of some kind of everything-proof shield against criticism. Like, this one over here, that one right there. Likewise, The Descent carries a strong sense of sorority, not just in the script, but in the chemistry between the actresses, making this a horror rental I think many women would enjoy if they haven't seen it yet. Honestly though, it's a solid movie for anyone. It's scary, it's gory, and in terms of atmosphere, it's one of the best.
Now take hold of my arm, alright? I'm gonna move slowly, that's it, grab my arm. Okay, come on. Just slowly, okay? Okay, come on.
The rope bag. I forgot the rope bag.
Okay.
Number 3 is Kairo, also known as Pulse, a Japanese paranormal thriller from 2001. Mixing ghost stories with technology has been prevalent for a couple decades, and honestly, most don't work. They often struggle to make the actual technology creepy, and this is where Kairo succeeds. Some of the biggest frights come from characters watching videos, and to me, these kind of scenes are always scarier when they're older or otherwise lower in quality. The limitations, the poor resolution and lack of sound, make the content more strange and unnerving. Every evil in this film is slow moving, slow speaking. It's that perfect, paralyzing kind of fear. Sure, the film could be shorter and the ending sequence is a bit of a mess, but if you're craving a creepy ghost story, Kairo is a great choice.
私死んじゃうのかなこのまま。そんなことないよ。そうだよね。ずっとこのままなんだよね。
Runner-up is Midsommar. To start, I have some issues with the movie. The pacing suffers from time to time, and a certain, costume toward the end should have been scarier. Regardless, this is a horrifying movie. This story is unsettling enough as it is, and dispersed throughout are some of the most hideous imagery I've seen in years. The opening is traumatizing. The deaths are grotesque. I lost track of how often I covered my mouth with shock, and the majority of this occurs under bright sunlight and festive music. Speaking of, this is one of the best horror scores of all time. I've never heard music that scared and delighted me with such balance, and it serves such great purpose in the story. If this doesn't get a nomination, then the Academy should just go ahead and hang a sign that says, "We hate horror music." You know, be honest about it. Even in scenes that aren't scary in the traditional sense, there's an overwhelming sense of wrongness, something sick and manipulative, like you shouldn't be watching at all. If I'd seen this film before my top 10 drug movies video, this definitely would have made the list. Other horror movies, even ones on this list, gave me a jolt. Midsommar burrowed into my skin.
Stop it. Fuck. No. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
And last up is The Hallow, a 2015 film from Ireland. Over the past couple years, I've been watching more Irish horror films and noticed a few consistencies. They're beautifully shot, put an emphasis on nature, and are absolutely brutal with their violence. And The Hallow is the scariest I've seen so far. If the slow beginnings of these other choices don't do it for you, then I'd recommend this one the most. The setup gives you just enough to get your feet wet, and then it wastes no time. The creature design in this movie is a nightmare. They're created with mostly practical effects, and they truly feel like something spawned from the woods. They're rotted, twisted, and deranged monsters that pursue the protagonist unrelentingly. The pacing is akin to a rabid animal digging for food. The driving scene is white-knuckle terror. And yeah, the mid-credit jump scare was a dick move that doesn't change the fact that The Hallow is a furiously scary flick. That about does it. What horror films scared you? Comment below. I love doing this horror stuff and got a bunch more content coming soon, so make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate all the support. Now, go watch something with the lights off.